Let's get real for a moment. How many times have you sent that just checking in text, hoping it would spark a real conversation? Or maybe you spent way too long crafting the perfect message, carefully choosing every word, and hit send with a glimmer of hope, only to be met with silence, no reply, just nothing. It's frustrating, isn't it? It's confusing, and if we're being honest, it stings. It's not just about the lack of a response, it's about what happens in the silence. That empty space where you're left second-guessing yourself, overthinking everything, wondering if you said too much or maybe not enough. You're caught in this loop, replaying every word, dissecting every moment, and questioning your own worth. But here's the thing, this isn't just about her not texting back. It's about you, about how you feel while you're sitting there, waiting for a reply that might never come. Every text you send, every time you anxiously check your phone, every second you spend obsessing, it's not just time you're losing, it's your power. You're stuck in a cycle that's doing nothing for you. It's draining your energy, chipping away at your confidence, and making you feel like you're not enough. But let me tell you something, you are more than enough, and this isn't it. Breaking free from this doesn't mean playing games or pretending you don't care. It's not about being aloof or trying to manipulate someone into liking you. No, this is about something deeper, recognizing your value and refusing to waste another ounce of energy on someone who can't see it. Here's the truth. The moment you stop chasing is the moment everything changes. It's the moment you reclaim control, not just of this situation, but of your mindset, your self-worth, and your future. You deserve someone who sees your value without you having to prove it. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, frustrated, and unsure of what to do next, stick around. It's time to flip the script. The answer isn't about changing her. It's about changing the way you see yourself. And when you do, trust me, everything else will fall into place. Point 1. She already knows how you feel. Let's cut through the noise and get to the heart of the matter. If you've made your interest known, whether by asking her out, spending meaningful time together, or directly expressing your feelings, she already knows where you stand. There's no ambiguity here. She's not sitting there, scratching her head, wondering how you feel. She gets it. So now the real question becomes, does she feel the same way? And if the answer is no, or I'm not sure, no amount of follow-up texts, check-ins, or sweet gestures will change that. In fact, doubling down on your efforts might do the opposite of what you're hoping for. It risks pushing her further away. Here's an analogy. Imagine someone keeps trying to sell you something you're not interested in. The first time, you might politely decline, maybe even appreciate the effort. The second time, it starts to feel a little annoying. By the third time, you're actively looking for ways to avoid them. You're dodging calls, ignoring emails, maybe even blocking the number altogether. That's exactly what happens when you keep texting someone who isn't reciprocating your interest. To you, it might feel like persistence, a noble, romantic effort to win her over. But to her, it's exhausting, it's overwhelming, and worse, it can come off as desperate. But here's the thing, you don't need to be that guy. Instead of chasing her attention, it's time to shift your focus. Step back, give her space, not out of spite or as part of some manipulative strategy, but because it's a declaration of your own self-worth. When you stop texting, you're saying something far more powerful than words ever could. I've made my feelings clear, and I respect myself too much to beg for attention. That's confidence, that's self-respect, and trust me, that energy, it's magnetic. It's attractive in a way that's hard to put into words, but it's undeniable. Confidence shows that you know your worth, and you won't waste time or energy on situations that don't honor it. Women can sense this shift. They feel it. When you're no longer chasing, you're reclaiming your power. You're showing her and the world that you don't need anyone to validate your value. That's the kind of energy that turns heads, changes dynamics, and puts you back in the driver's seat of your life. Remember this, your value doesn't depend on her response. It depends on how you carry yourself and the standards you set for how you're treated. Point 2. Emotional detachment equals attraction. Let's break this down, my guy. Have you ever noticed that the things we don't fully understand are the ones we can't stop thinking about? It's like that unsolved puzzle or cliffhanger in a show. It keeps us hooked, replaying it in our minds, searching for answers. That's not a coincidence. It's human psychology. We're wired to crave mystery, to chase the things that feel just out of reach. The problem is, when you're constantly texting her, checking in, and making yourself too available, you're not mysterious, you're predictable. You're like the overly familiar rerun of a show she's seen too many times. There's no suspense, no excitement, no reason to lean in. Now, let's flip the perspective. Think about the most captivating characters in movies, the ones who command attention without saying much. They're the James Bonds, the mysterious strangers at the party, the calm and composed figures who seem to have the world figured out. They don't overshare, they don't rush to prove themselves, and they certainly don't chase anyone. They radiate an aura of confidence, self-assurance, and independence. Their vibe, take it or leave it, I'm good either way. That energy is magnetic. Why? Because they leave space for curiosity. They're intriguing precisely because they're not easy to figure out. When you stop texting her constantly, you're flipping the entire script. You're breaking the pattern she's come to expect. Suddenly, she's not being handed every piece of your attention on a silver platter. Instead, she's left with space. Space to wonder, to question, and to notice the shift. And trust me, that shift is powerful. It plants questions in her mind she wasn't asking before. Why hasn't he texted me? Did he lose interest? Is there someone else in the picture? That curiosity is the spark of attraction. It flips the dynamic. Instead of you constantly thinking about her, she's the one thinking about you. Instead of you chasing her, she starts to lean in, trying to figure out what's changed. But this isn't just about playing games or trying to manipulate someone's interest. It's about emotional detachment, not in the sense of being cold or unkind, but in valuing yourself enough to let things flow naturally. It's about understanding that you don't need to convince someone to want you. If they're interested, they'll show it. And if they're not, you're good. When you embrace that mindset, you're not only more attractive, you're freer. You stop living in someone else's orbit and start reclaiming your own. And that's the kind of energy that doesn't just attract attention, it commands respect. Stop trying to solve the puzzle for her. Let her sit with the questions. That space you're creating, it's not just for her, it's for you too. To refocus, rebuild your confidence, and remember that the most valuable thing you can offer isn't endless texts or reassurance. It's the version of you who knows their worth and doesn't compromise it for anyone. Point 3. The power of no contact. Let's get one thing straight. No contact isn't some childish game or a cheap tactic to make her jealous. It's way bigger than that. This is about something much more important, respecting yourself. It's about stepping back, not out of anger or spite, but to create space for both of you to reflect and reassess. Think of no contact like pressing the pause button in a movie. You're stopping the cycle, stepping back from the endless texts, the second guessing, and the emotional drain. It gives her time to feel the shift, to notice the absence of your energy. And here's the kicker, if she's genuinely into you, she's going to feel that empty space you left behind. She'll start to wonder why you've gone quiet, and that silence will speak louder than any message you could have sent. But let's not sugarcoat this. It's also a test. If she's not interested, no contact will make that clear too. And while that might sting in the short term, think of it this way. You've just dodged a massive bullet. Why waste your time, energy, and emotions on someone who isn't reciprocating your vibe? Now, let me hit you with some psychology here. The scarcity effect. It's a simple truth about human nature. We value what we can't easily have. Think about those limited edition sneakers you didn't care much about when they were sitting on the shelf. But the second they're sold out, suddenly you have to have them. It's not the sneakers that changed, it's the perception of their value. The same principle applies here. When you're constantly available, always texting, always there, you're not scarce, you're predictable, even taken for granted. But when you pull back, when you step into no contact mode, you instantly shift the dynamic. Your attention becomes something she notices is missing, something she might start to crave. But let's make one thing crystal clear. This isn't about sitting around waiting for her to text you back. That's passive, weak energy. And we're not about that life. No contact isn't just a pause for her to reflect. It's your opportunity to level up. While she's sitting there wondering why you went silent, you're out there becoming the best version of yourself. You're hitting the gym, dialing in on your goals, chasing passions that light you up, and spending quality time with your crew. You're building a life that's fulfilling and exciting, a life that doesn't depend on her validation or anyone else's for that matter. This is where the real power lies. You're not just showing her what she might be missing, you're showing yourself what you're truly capable of. You're creating a reality where you're thriving, regardless of whether she's in it or not. And here's the beauty of it. When you're in no contact, you're not chasing. You're not over-explaining or overthinking. You're setting a boundary that says, I'm worth more than breadcrumbs. I'm worth more than chasing someone who doesn't see my value. That's the kind of confidence that's not just attractive, it's irresistible. Point 4. Focus on self-improvement. This is where you take things to the next level, where you stop playing small and start stepping into your full potential. Instead of pouring all your energy into chasing someone who's not giving it back, you channel that energy into the one person who truly deserves it, you. Let's start with the basics. If you're not already, hit the gym, not just for the aesthetics, though those are a nice bonus, but for how it makes you feel. There's something powerful about looking in the mirror and seeing progress, feeling stronger, more disciplined, and more capable every single day. You're not just working on your body, you're building a mindset of resilience and determination. But don't stop there. Expand your skill set. Dive into something that excites you, challenges you, and makes you grow. Maybe it's learning how to cook a gourmet meal that will leave everyone impressed, mastering a new language that's always intrigued you, or leveling up in your career to become an absolute boss in your field. Whatever it is, choose something that lights you up, something that makes you proud of yourself every step of the way. And let's not forget one of the most important parts of self-improvement, your relationships. Reconnect with your boys. Those friendships, they're the foundation that keeps you grounded, keeps you laughing, and reminds you of who you are. Spend time with the people who truly have your back. Those moments of camaraderie and connection are invaluable. When you start investing in yourself, two incredible things happen. You become unstoppable. There's an undeniable power in watching yourself grow and evolve. As you level up, you'll start to feel like a force of nature, someone who's not defined by anyone else's opinion or validation. You become magnetic. Confidence is intoxicating, and so is ambition. When you're out here living your best life, chasing your dreams, and radiating self-assurance, people notice. It's irresistible. Suddenly the energy shifts. You're no longer the one chasing, you're the one being chased. And here's the real kicker. By focusing on your grind, you reach a point where her response, or lack of one, stops mattering. Whether she texts back or not becomes irrelevant. You're so locked into your journey, your goals, and your growth that you realize something crucial. You're the prize. Never forget that. You're not just some guy hoping for attention. You're a high-value individual with goals, ambition, and the discipline to make things happen. When you truly internalize that, everything changes. You're not chasing anyone anymore because you know what you bring to the table, and you're perfectly fine sitting alone at it if you have to. So, go all in on yourself. Build a body that makes you proud, a skill set that makes you unstoppable, and a life that's so full and vibrant that anyone who doesn't see your worth becomes just a passing thought. Point 5. Acceptance is freedom. Let's get real for a moment. This one's going to hit hard, but it's necessary. Not every connection, no matter how intense or promising it may seem at the start, is meant to last. That's just the reality of life, and it's something we all have to come to terms with eventually. But here's where the shift happens. It's not a loss. It's actually a massive win. Why? Because letting go of something that's not right for you opens up the space for something better, something real, something that actually aligns with who you are. Clinging to someone who doesn't feel the same way is like trying to run a race while dragging a heavy tire behind you. You're holding yourself back, exhausting yourself. And for what? For the faint hope that they'll suddenly change their mind? Respect yourself enough to walk away with your head held high. Understand this, acceptance isn't weakness. In fact, it's one of the greatest demonstrations of strength. It's the ability to look at a situation, acknowledge it for what it is, and walk away because you know your value. It's not about begging, pleading, or trying to convince someone of your worth. It's about saying, I know who I am, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm not here to sell myself to anyone. This mindset isn't about defeat, it's about self-respect. It's about owning your worth and refusing to chase after crumbs when you deserve a full-course meal. You're not some beggar hoping to gather up scraps of affection or validation. You're the damn main course. You bring something to the table that deserves to be celebrated and appreciated, and if she can't see that, someone else will. And here's the kicker. When you finally accept that this connection isn't meant to be, you free yourself. You free yourself from the constant emotional drain of hoping for something that isn't mutual. You free yourself from the mind games, the uncertainty, and the stress of trying to make something work that just isn't. Acceptance allows you to release all that weight and make room for someone who does get you, who does appreciate you, and who doesn't require convincing. So, here's what you need to remember. Acceptance is a form of liberation. It's not about giving up or admitting defeat. It's about saying, I deserve better. When you accept that some relationships are not meant to last, you make room for the relationships that will thrive. Relationships that are built on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine connection. You're not wasting time on people who don't appreciate you. You're investing your energy into becoming the best version of yourself and opening doors to opportunities that align with your worth. Because at the end of the day, when you know what you deserve, you won't settle for anything less. Here's the beauty of it. Once you fully accept that she might not come back, you're free. Free from the constant waiting, free from the hope that's keeping you stuck, and free from the emotional baggage you've been carrying around. That freedom, it's powerful. In that space, you'll find something you may not have realized you were missing. Peace, dignity, and the ability to build something stronger with someone who is truly aligned with you and all in on what you have to offer. Now, let me share something personal with you. I've been exactly where you are. There was this one girl I thought was the one. Funny, beautiful, someone I could genuinely see a future with. I invested my time, my energy, and put myself out there in every way I could. And you know what happened? She rejected me. At first, it stung like hell. The doubts creep in. You start asking yourself questions like, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough for her? Did I miss something? Trust me, I've been there. But here's the truth I eventually realized. Her rejection wasn't about me. It wasn't a reflection of my worth, but rather her inability to see it. And that's okay. Looking back on it now, I'm honestly grateful she rejected me. Why? Because it pushed me to dig deeper, to grow, to level up in ways I never imagined. It set a fire under me to evolve into the man I am today. And guess what? The things I thought I wanted with her, I'm now building those dreams for myself, on my own terms, and with someone who actually matches my energy, values, and vision. Rejection doesn't have to be the end of your story, bro. In fact, it's often just the beginning of a brand new chapter. Think of it as the ultimate reset button. Use that energy, that pain, as fuel to push forward, not as an anchor weighing you down. The truth is, rejection is only a loss if you let it define you. Instead, let it serve as the motivation to become the best version of yourself. Because that's the real win. Now, I want to hear your story. Have you ever been rejected only to come out stronger on the other side? Drop it in the comments. Let's keep building each other up, one king at a time.